Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is 𝙎𝙖𝙄𝙄𝙇. This is the last video for 2021 and it's been an amazing year. I want to take this chance to say thank you to everyone who supported the channel, who checked out Canon Masterclass and has really, made this the best year ever. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. The final concept we're looking at in 2021 is, are bigger lights always better? And the answer is no. If you look at BTS shots of some big budget Hollywood film sets, you'll see huge light sources, 10 by 10s, 20 by 20s, massive cove lights that Roger Deakins likes to use, whole walls of light to illuminate large crowds of people, massive bounces for the sun. And you may think that bigger is better. If you have the resources and you have the time to set up these large sources, then they inevitably give you a better quality of light. That is not true. They actually give a more consistent quality of light over a large area. So obviously you need a big source to illuminate a large space. And if you're in a scene where the actors move around a lot, that means that one, you can get the wide without having to relight every time the person moves. So that saves time. And then two, when you're in your close-up, you're still getting the same amount of illumination. You can just sort of finesse it a little bit when you go in for coverage. But too large a light source from the wrong angle can be very unflattering. They can overly illuminate your subject and take out all their mystery and suspense. They can show too much because they're so big. They don't give you enough dimension and contrast and control. The advantages of large light sources are pretty clear. Because you place them far away from your subject, by the time they arrive, by the time the light has traveled from the far source, it's in this mid part of the drop-off curve so that it stays consistent. You might have it f4 on one side of the set and it'll be f4 on the other side of the set, so the level won't change. Whereas a small light placed close to the subject, like I have here, as soon as I start getting close to it, it starts getting much, much hotter. As soon as I start getting further away from it, it gets much, much cooler. So it's really only lighting me right here. The advantage of the small light source is the dimension that it gives. Because I'm in the peak of the fall-off curve in your inverse square law, from this part of illumination on this side of my face to this part of illumination, it's dropping off maybe a stop. And that means that I get more dimension in the person's face. It pops more, it's brighter on one side of the light than the other. And this makes for more dynamic lighting, more interesting lighting. It chisels the face out of the background more because different parts of the face are brighter than others. And so it helps the viewer distinguish more of the face's characteristics on the flat two-dimensional screen. This is the digital Sputnik DS1, and down here I have the SGC P60 as an eye light. You'll see if I have to keep it out of frame here, that's without it on, that's with it on. But if I go to my close-up and move it in, as I'm getting it even closer, I have to crop in to keep it out of the shot. But if I can get it this close, I get much more fall-off within the face, and as a result, a more dynamic image. These are great little lights, by the way. This is the P60, and it's one of the few tube lights that actually comes with removable batteries. So you can get one light and several batteries and not have to keep swapping them out or plugging them in. I find it easier to work with as an on-camera light than some other tube lights because the controls are on the front and I can access and modify it while looking at it. It also has RGB and effects, so it's a fun little light. I'll leave a link in the description. The reason that more cinematographers don't use this style of lighting, of a small light very close, is that if you use this for your close-up, then it isn't going to match the wide as much. I personally feel like you should get the best lighting you can, and I'm not that concerned with consistency between your wide and your mid-shot and your close-up. I think the audience knows that this is a movie, and it's better to have a more dynamic image than it is to match your close-ups to a wide shot that the audience might only see for a couple of seconds anyway. You can also see how a close light affects and lights the eye. Because the eyes are two little wet orbs placed in a skull, they benefit from having light very, very close passing through them to illuminate the pigment of the iris. When big lights are placed far away, you don't get that same sparkle in the eyes. You don't get that same color in the eyes. And I think this alone is worth using small lights up close. For the last year or so, I've been using big umbrella lights to light my YouTube videos because I was doing so many of the camera courses and I needed to have a wider shot so that I could have a camera in shot. And I just stuck with this through my YouTube videos. Though after preparing this course, I think I'm going to go back to this kind of shot because it's so much more dynamic. And I think it just makes a better image than the wider shot lit with big sources. Thank you very much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is a really awesome online learning platform that allows you to expand your photography and cinematography knowledge into new and interesting places beyond your typical experience and what you would normally shoot. Personally, I was really interested to know more about outdoor adventure photography. There's a great course by Chris Burkard using natural light in out-of-the-way places and how he uses long exposure to get amazing skies and include a human element in his wilderness photography to show the scope and scale of the outdoors. The first 1,000 people that click on the link in the description will get 1 free month of Skillshare to expand your horizons in 2022. I hope this was helpful to people out there to get a better image with whatever light you have, be it big or small. You can find out more about me and my work at canonmasterclass.com. My Instagram is linked below as well, and I hope that you're making the kind of films that you want to be making in the year ahead. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.